What's up, folks? David here, TexasLonghornsFans.com, continuing our 2021 position previews and breakdowns as we get closer to Week 1 kickoff against Louisiana. So we did the offensive line first, and remember, we're going line of scrimmage out, position by position. So we did offensive line, we got defensive line in this video. If you're skipping around on the videos, don't forget to check out all the other videos, and we'll link to the other ones in the tags and in the description as well. So definitely leave your comments. I wanted to know what you guys think about your predictions. Who are you excited about? Who do you want to see step up? Maybe who are you disappointed with last year that you want to see step up? But don't forget to give the video a like, share it out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the other videos. We're trying to do about maybe about 3 a week here as we head into the season. So really hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. All right, so to start off, I like to kind of start high level with the overall position group before we look at my projected starters and also look at some of the key backups. So a few months ago, around springtime, around spring practice, I said that I felt like the defensive line was overall the strongest unit on the team, and I still feel that way, kind of given what we have found out a little more about this kind of defensive scheme, how the alignments aren't really too different from what we saw last year. So we're kind of still sticking with a more of a core 3 down lineman, a defensive end, and then a defensive tackle, and then more of a traditional nose tackle, and then you have that kind of hybrid outside defensive end / linebacker jack position that Joseph Osai played last year. But for this group, we're just sticking with those three down positions: the end, the tackle, and the nose tackle. So I still feel like this is the strongest unit on the team, especially considering the leadership with Keandre Colburn right in the middle. Keandre and Bijan Robinson were the 2 representatives for the team at Big 12 Media Days. So, obviously this new coaching staff saw something immediately in Keandre Colburn, who is now a junior, and just him being an obvious leader on the team. Colburn was really funny too. He's got a really funny, kind of fun personality. You can kind of tell that he just kind of rolls with the punches. He's that type of leader, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of those just type of like vocal leaders that probably has a pretty decent relationship with everybody on the team. So he's obviously the leader right there in the middle. But overall, I like I said, I still feel strongly about this being the strongest position group on the entire team. I think as the season went on last year, we saw this unit step up more and more, and also just make plays by themselves, right? Like, wreaking havoc in the backfield, making plays at the line of scrimmage. And overall, what I would love to see with this group is the ability to knife through the backfield and make plays on their own without needing extra help from a blitzing linebacker or a blitzing safety, and getting guys out of position and moving all the way around the field to provide some help for this group. So hopefully we don't see a lot of that, and we see more of them kind of getting things done on their own. So, all right, here is the breakdown and projected starters that I came up with. Obviously, no big surprises here, but Jacoby Jones, Keandre Colburn, and Alfred Collins filling in that kind of that left defensive tackle spot. Now, last year at different times, I think we saw some really significant things from all 3 of these guys. I really liked the way Jacoby Jones stepped up, and I really liked what I saw from him in the spring game. I thought he popped off the screen several times, which is really impressive. and really making things happen behind the line of scrimmage, which is really the impact that I think these guys can make. Coburn, I think, is a great hybrid run-stuffing nose tackle who can also knife through the line and get into the backfield. I believe he had like 5 tackles for loss last year. We'll look at these 3 guys' stats here in a second. And then, obviously being kind of the quarterback of that front core part of the defense is a perfect spot for him. And he comes with a lot of experience. He has a lot of snaps under his belt, which is cool. And then Jacoby Jones, obviously, as an upperclassman, coming in, still coming in with a lot of experience as well. And then the young guy, Alfred Collins, obviously everybody is so high on this guy. I am as well. He's got that kind of skill level and even that body style of being more of a kind of a hybrid defensive end tackle. Really super athletic. We obviously saw that interception that he had in the Alamo Bowl where he just reached out with his paw and pulled it down, pulled down an interception kind of at the line of scrimmage, which was really cool to see. So, I really think that these guys are set to be major disruptors in the backfield. Now, if you go look at the defensive stats from last year, this list is on the Sports Reference website. It's sorted by total tackles, and you can see down there number 10, number 11, and number 12 in a row were Jacoby Jones, Keandre Coburn, and Alfred Collins. Jones had 2 tackles for loss. Coburn had 4.5 tackles for loss. I was a half off. And then Alfred Collins is right behind Coburn there, just an impact with 23 total tackles, 2.5 for loss. He had that interception in the Alamo Bowl, and then 1.5 sacks. So that's really cool to see those guys as a group right there, sort of being right there with each other in terms of total impact. Obviously the down linemen, the down defensive linemen are not going to lead the team in tackles. That's typically going to be, your linebackers, your outside linebackers, or your pass rushers. Which, if you go to the top of the list, last year, that's exactly what it is. It was Jawan Mitchell, Overshone, and Osai as the leading tacklers on the team. And leading in tackles for loss as well. But I just thought that was kind of a cool stat, seeing those guys be there at 10, 11, and 12 in terms of total tackles. So looking at some of the key reserves, I'm really impressed with some of these guys. Looking up there at the top with Ajomo, I absolutely think that he's going to get a pretty good amount of significant playing time. As he goes into, I believe he's going to be classified as a junior. I'm thrown off from last year with 2020 not counting as a year of eligibility. So, and then T'Vondre Sweat, I think I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but I was actually referring to Taquan Graham. I think I just had Sweat because I had him in the back of my mind, but Taquan Graham leaving, but T'Vondre Sweat still being there as a contributor. So those 2 guys, I think we're going to see more of than what we might be thinking. Obviously, I hope that the projected starters there, Jones, Coburn, and Collins, end up being the clear starters, because I do think that they are the 3 that have shown to be the most talented and the most consistent of this group. But Ajomo and Sweat, I think have really stepped up. I would say of those 2, I would expect more out of Ajomo. He, what we've seen the past couple of years from him, I think, is that, obviously he hasn't had a ton of playing time, but he does kind of disappear at times. And then he'll kind of pop back on the screen a couple games later. But consistency, I think, is the key there. Vernon Broughton, the redshirt freshman, obviously everybody's still really high on him. I know Keandre Coburn at Big 12 Media Days had a lot of good things to say about him and just kind of his work ethic and how he's coming along. Jet Bush, kind of kind of a specialized player in there. Doesn't get a lot of playing time, but just in terms of depth and just the ability to make some plays in the backfield. I think we saw that a few times. And then freshman DJ Harris, and then Jordan Thomas being a big one there. So, it's always exciting to see some contributions from the young guys, like we saw last year from Collins during his true freshman season. He came in as the other 5-star with Bijan, but Harris and Thomas, hopefully what we get to see a little bit of what they have early on in the season against Louisiana, Arkansas, and Rice. Hopefully, you want to see by mid third quarter that hopefully the game is in hand, and then you get to see some of your young guys step up and just see what they can do. See what stands out. With these guys, that's always pretty exciting. So hopefully early in the season we get to see some of that. Obviously, I think people are really really high on Thomas and Broughton from the last two or this recruiting class, and then obviously last year's. But that's going to be interesting to see who steps up from the young guys. So let me know what you think about those projections, the starters. Would you swap anybody out among the three starters? And like I said, I'm leaving that jack position in the linebackers preview, so we'll look at that in another video. But I feel really strongly about this group, especially the starters there, bringing in some significant playing time. Collins not so much, but I think he showed toward the end of last season that he can play, that he can be a starter there. And then of the reserves, I would say Ajomo to expect to see him most among these reserves. So let me know what you think about that, guys. Drop your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this out if you're listening on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe as well. We'll put links to the other videos in the description. Also a link to the podcast there. Don't forget to subscribe there as well. And then also, obviously, check us out at TexasHornsFans.com. Hook 'em. See you on the next video.